The celebration aboard the Crimson Talon would have made any self-respecting space pirate cringe. Captain Vexathor, notorious raider of the Andromeda Arm, stood proudly on his command deck, his scaled crimson skin reflecting the harsh lighting as he raised a glass of fermented plasma. Around him, his crew of miscreants and outcasts cheered with the sophistication of a herd of drunk space cows. "A toast," his voice boomed through the ship's intercom, "to the greatest heist in the history of the galaxy. 57 human younglings snatched right from under their pathetic guardians' noses." The crew roared in approval, their various appendages waving celebration tokens. Lieutenant Kraz, Vexthor's second-in-command, slithered forward on his serpentine lower body. "Captain, the ransom demands are prepared. Should I transmit them to the human colony?" "Not yet." Vexathor's mandibles clicked in amusement. "Let them stew in their misery for another rotation. These humans, they're so predictable with their emotional attachments. They'll pay anything we demand." From the security feeds displayed on the bridge's main screen, the captured children could be seen in their holding cells. Most sat quietly, some crying, others sleeping. Vexathor's third eye focused on them with smug satisfaction. "Look at them, Kraz. So docile, so helpless. The stories about humans being dangerous must be propaganda. Their young can't even defend themselves." He laughed, a grating sound like metal scraping metal. A junior officer, fresh from the Outer Rim Pirates Academy, dared to speak up. "But Captain, I heard stories about the human military response to—" "Silence." Vexathor's tail whipped around, nearly striking the young officer. "Those are ghost stories told by failed pirates to excuse their incompetence. Humans are soft, their technology primitive compared to ours. Their mighty Earth Defense Force? They're probably still trying to figure out which end of their ships points forward." The bridge crew laughed nervously, some exchanging worried glances. Their captain's confidence was legendary, but so was his tendency to underestimate opponents. "Besides," Vexathor continued, draining his glass, "we're safely hidden in the Scarlet Nebula. Our base is undetectable, our shields impenetrable. By the time they even realize where we are, we'll be rich enough to buy our own galaxy." As if to punctuate his boast, a small alarm chimed from the security station. The operator quickly silenced it. "What was that?" Kraz asked, his scales bristling slightly. "Nothing, sir. Just some anomalous readings from holding cell block C. Probably interference from the nebula." Vexathor waved a dismissive hand. "See? Even the universe celebrates our victory. Now, prepare for Phase 2. Tomorrow, we show the humans just how helpless they really are." Little did the celebrating pirates know that in holding cell block C, 12-year-old Lisa Chen was already removing the false bottom of her shoe, retrieving a compact device that would spell their doom. But that was a problem for tomorrow's Vexathor. Tonight was for basking in his supposed glory, blissfully unaware that he'd just signed his species' death warrant. The New Eden Colony's Emergency Response Center erupted into controlled chaos exactly 3 minutes after the abduction. Parents weren't crying. They weren't begging. Instead, David Chen, the colony's head of security, watched as mothers and fathers transformed into something the galaxy had never seen before. Predators with purpose. "They took our children," his voice cut through the tension-filled room. "They think we'll pay ransom. They're wrong. We'll pay them in blood instead." The assembled parents, many still in their work uniforms, engineers, terraformers, security personnel, nodded grimly. One mother, a former combat medic, was already pulling up colony defense schematics. A father, his mining uniform still dusty, checked his personal arsenal. "Earth Defense Force Command. This is New Eden Colony. Code Black. I repeat, Code Black. 57 children taken. Request immediate military response." David's message shot through quantum channels, reaching Earth in seconds. The response was immediate. Warning klaxons blared across every military installation in human space. From orbital stations and planetary bases, Ships began launching before the message finished transmitting. The galaxy was about to learn why taking human children was considered a terminal mistake. At EDF headquarters in Geneva, Commander Maya Rodriguez stood before the assembled Joint Chiefs, her dark eyes reflecting holographic displays of fleet movements. Her reputation preceded her. The woman who ended the Proxima pirates, the ghost who made the Centauri cartel disappear. The Scarlet Nebula, she pointed to a swirling mass of red gases on the tactical display. Our intel suggests the pirates are based there. They think the radiation masks their presence. They're right, it does. From normal scans. She tapped her console, revealing new data streams. But every child in that colony had a subdermal quantum tracker, not for surveillance, for exactly this scenario. We knew someone would eventually try this. We've been preparing for years. The Joint Chiefs exchanged knowing looks. The pirates had just triggered a contingency plan decades in the making. I want the 7th Fleet for the primary assault, Rodriguez continued, her voice carrying the weight of inevitable victory. The 3rd and 5th for containment. Nothing escapes. My special operations team will handle the infiltration. Authorized, Fleet Admiral Chen declared. The coincidence of his surname wasn't lost on anyone. Any parameters? Rodriguez's smile would have made a shark proud. They're professionals, sir. They'll demand ransom, try to negotiate, standard procedure for them. And for us? We don't negotiate with people who take our children. Tactical nuclear options are authorized. If they want to hide in a nebula, we'll make it their tomb. Within hours, the largest human fleet assembled since the Mars Rebellion moved with deadly purpose. Support ships carried enough firepower to glass a continent. Medical vessels prepared not for human casualties, but for recovering children. The galaxy was about to witness humanity's version of proportional response. On her flagship, the EDF Damascus, Rodriguez reviewed the manifest of taken children. Her eyes lingered on one name, Lisa Chen, David's daughter, the girl who'd been trained since birth for this possibility, a honey trap years in the making. Status of the quantum tracker? She asked her communications officer. Signal is strong, Commander. Lisa has activated it successfully. She's already mapping their base layout. Rodriguez nodded, pride mixing with anticipation. The pirates thought they had captured helpless children. Instead, they'd taken the next generation of humanity's defenders, kids raised on stories of past attacks, trained to be both victims and vengeance. Send word to all ships, she ordered. Operation Mama Bear is now active. Weapons free, no mercy. The Damascus's engines flared to life, leading an armada of retribution toward the Scarlet Nebula. Somewhere in that crimson cloud, Captain Vexathor was about to learn why some species were marked as do not engage in the galactic database. The Scarlet Nebula stretched before the human fleet like a wound in space. Massive clouds of crimson gas swirled and churned, concealing whatever lay within. To most species, it was the perfect hiding place. To humanity's enhanced sensors, it might as well have been clear glass. Multiple contacts, the Damascus's sensor officer called out. 15 small vessels, patrol formation. They're running dark. Commander Rodriguez watched the tactical display, noting the pirates' positioning. Amateur hour. They'd arranged their patrol ships in a predictable grid pattern, like pieces on a chessboard. Time to teach them how humans played chess. Launch Ghost Squadron, she ordered. Standard harassment protocol. 6 sleek fighters detached from the Damascus's belly, their stealth systems rendering them nearly invisible. The pilots were hand-picked veterans, each with more combat hours than most alien species had space travel time. Ghost lead to all pilots, Captain Jack Morrison's voice crackled through the comm. Remember, we're not here to win. We're here to make them panic. The fighters dove into the nebula, their enhanced sensors cutting through the interference. They found their first target within minutes, a small corvette-class vessel serving as a patrol ship. The pirate ship never saw them coming. 2 precision strikes disabled its engines and communications. The crew barely had time to register the attack before Ghost Squadron vanished back into the crimson clouds. First target neutralized, Morrison reported, moving to second mark. Over the next hour, the scene repeated itself 4 more times. Each attack was precise, deliberate, and terrifying for the pirates. No demands, no warnings, just silent strikes from an unseen enemy. On the Damascus's bridge, Rodriguez watched the chaos unfold. The remaining patrol ships broke formation, clustering together like scared animals. Perfect. "Launch Phase 2, she commanded. "Let's show them what real fear looks like." The Damascus's main guns spoke. Concentrated plasma beams cut through the nebula, superheating the gas into brilliant patterns of light and energy. The shots went wide of the pirate vessels deliberately, but the message was clear: nowhere to hide. "Incoming transmission," the comms officer announced. "It's from their flagship. Put it through." Captain Vexithor's agitated face appeared on the main screen. His scales had lost their luster, his third eye twitching nervously. "This is restricted space. You are violating—" "Captain Vexithor," Rodriguez cut him off, her voice colder than deep space. "You have something that belongs to us. The children are unharmed. We can negotiate." A plasma beam sliced through one of his remaining patrol ships, cutting it in half. The explosion painted the nebula in shades of orange and blue. "I don't think you understand," Rodriguez continued as if nothing had happened. "This isn't a negotiation. This isn't even a battle. This is pest control." Ghost Squadron struck again, taking out 3 more ships in rapid succession. The remaining pirates broke ranks completely, fleeing in random directions. Several crashed into each other in their panic. "You're insane," Vexithor sputtered. "This response, it's disproportionate." Rodriguez leaned forward, her smile reminiscent of a wolf spotting wounded prey. "No, this is restrained. You took children. Children! If we were being disproportionate, this nebula would already be a supernova." As if to emphasize her point, the Damascus's targeting systems locked onto Vexithor's flagship. Not to fire, just to let him know they could. "You have 1 hour," Rodriguez declared. "Return the children, surrender your crew, and we'll let you live. Refuse, and we'll show you why humans are the only species in known space that still maintains dedicated warships. You wouldn't dare. The Galactic Council." Another patrol ship exploded, this time from a mine laid by Ghost Squadron during their earlier passes. "Check your database, Captain. Humans aren't signatories to the Galactic Council's conventions on proportional response. We made that very clear after the last time someone took our children." The transmission cut off abruptly. On the tactical display, the remaining pirate vessels scrambled into defensive positions around their hidden base. Their movements were panicked, uncoordinated. "Ghost Squadron, return to base," Rodriguez ordered. "Phase 1 complete." As the fighters docked, she studied the sensor readings from their passes. The pirates' base location was confirmed, their defenses mapped. Everything was proceeding exactly as planned. "Send word to the fleet," she commanded. "Begin Phase 3. Let's remind the galaxy why humanity's children are off limits." The holding cells in the pirate base weren't exactly 5-star accommodations, but they suited Lisa Chen's purposes perfectly. The 12-year-old sat cross-legged on her bunk, watching the guard rotation through half-closed eyes. 3 guards, changing every 4 hours. Predictable, boring, amateur. "Hey, weird lizard guy," Tommy Parker, age 8, called out to their current guard. "I need to use the bathroom again." The guard's scales rippled in annoyance. 4th bathroom trip this hour. They hadn't figured out yet that the kids were mapping their route to the facilities, counting steps, noting security checkpoints. "Again?" the guard grumbled, mandibles clicking. "This is why we should have taken Zentarian young. At least they only need waste disposal once per cycle." Lisa suppressed a smile. The guard's universal translator wasn't perfect. It had gaps. Gaps the children had already learned to exploit by speaking in playground slang that translated into gibberish. "Yo, Lisa," Jamie Roberts whispered from the next cell. "That totes yeet guard is being such a sussy, Barker." The guard's translator crackled, trying to make sense of the phrase. While he was distracted, 6-year-old Penny Wu slipped something from his belt pouch. The kids had turned pickpocketing into a game, seeing who could snag the most useful items. In her cell, Lisa continued working on the small pile of components they'd collected. A power cell here, a comm chip there. The pirates hadn't bothered to check their shoes, their hair clips, the seams of their clothes. Why would they? They were just children. Status report, she whispered through the hidden comm network they'd established using stolen parts. Section A, ready, came the reply from the boys' cell block. Ryan figured out their door codes. Section B, halfway there, another voice responded. But Sophie's got them convinced she's allergic to their food. They're bringing human rations from their supplies. Section C, medical bay mapped, a third voice added. They still think Kevin actually has space flu. Lisa nodded, pride swelling in her chest. New Eden Colony's children had been preparing for something like this their whole lives. Monthly drills, disguised as games, survival classes masked as summer camp. While their parents handled the obvious defense, the kids were the colony's secret weapon. A commotion outside drew her attention. Lieutenant Kraz was berating the guards, his serpentine body coiled in agitation. "The humans are coming! They've destroyed half our patrol fleet!" His voice carried through the supposedly soundproof cells. "How? They're supposed to be primitive." "Sir," one guard gestured to the cells, "should we move the prisoners deeper into the base?" Lisa tensed. That wouldn't work with their plan. "No time," Kraz hissed. "Just increase the guard rotation and check all their cells. The captain thinks they might have some kind of tracking device." Too late, Lisa thought. They'd already distributed the tracker components among all the cells. Even if they found one, a dozen others would still be active. "Hey, Snakeface!" Tommy yelled again. "Still need that bathroom break?" Kraz whirled around, baring his fangs. "Silence, you insignificant!" His threat was cut short by alarms blaring throughout the base. The lights flickered, switching to emergency power. Lisa's quantum tracker pulsed against her ankle, acknowledging the signal. Mom and Dad were coming. Time for Phase 2. "Ready to play pirates?" she whispered to her fellow captives. 56 grins answered in the darkness. The real fun was about to begin. The Damascus broke through the nebula's crimson clouds like an ancient warship emerging from fog. Behind it, the combined might of 3 human fleets took formation. Ships of every size filled the void, from nimble corvettes to hulking dreadnoughts. "All ships, battle stations," Commander Rodriguez's voice carried across all channels. "Initiate Operation Bedtime Story." The first wave began with a symphony of missile launches. Hundreds of warheads streaked through space, their targeting systems linked to the quantum trackers. They weren't aimed at the pirate base. Instead, they detonated in precise patterns around it, their explosions igniting the nebula gases. A wall of fire rushed toward the hidden station. Inside the pirate base, Captain Vexathor watched in horror as his supposedly perfect hiding spot became a death trap. "Raise all shields! Launch everything we have!" Pirate fighters poured from concealed hangars, only to meet Ghost Squadron lying in wait. The resulting dogfight was less a battle and more an execution. Human pilots, trained since childhood in virtual combat pods, demonstrated why Earth considered fighter combat an art form. "Ground team, you have your window," Rodriguez commanded. From the Damascus's launch bay, 3 sleek dropships detached. Their hulls were painted matte black, absorbing both light and sensor signals. Each carried a team of Special Forces operators, the best humanity had to offer. "Thunder 1 through 3 on approach." Captain Marcus Chen's voice was steady as he led the insertion. "Packages transmitting. Lisa's got them exactly where we want them." The dropships slipped through gaps in the pirate base's shield coverage, gaps mapped by the children's stolen tech. They landed on the outer hull, magnetic clamps engaging with barely a sound. Inside, Lisa Chen felt the subtle vibration. "Places everyone," she whispered through the makeshift comm network. "The show's about to start." Special Forces breached the hull at 3 points simultaneously. Thunder 1, led by Captain Chen, cut through the maintenance section. Thunder 2 dropped into the power distribution hub. Thunder 3 emerged right outside the command center. "Contact." Chen reported calmly, his team engaging the first group of pirates. Human weapons, designed to penetrate any known armor, made quick work of the defenders. Moving to Junction 7. In orbit, the space battle reached its crescendo. The Damascus's main guns fired again, this time with surgical precision. The pirate base's external defenses crumbled under concentrated fire. "Sir!" a pirate officer screamed at Vexathor. "They're inside the base, multiple breaches, and the prisoners, they're—" The power went out. Emergency lights kicked in, only to flicker and die. In the holding cells, 57 children moved with practiced coordination. Every lock that hadn't been picked was shorted out. Every guard who hadn't been pickpocketed found their weapons mysteriously malfunctioning. "This is Thunder 1, Chen's voice crackled through the base's hijacked comm system. "We're approaching Cell Block A. Lisa, status?" His daughter's voice responded with professional clarity. "Cell Block A secured, Dad. Tommy's team has control of their security station. Jamie's group is barricaded in the armory. Penny's little ones are safe in the maintenance shafts. You've got a clear path to the command center." The Special Forces teams converged on their target, encountering sporadic resistance. Most pirates were too busy trying to figure out how children had taken control of half their base. "Commander Rodriguez," Chen reported, "we're outside the command center, ready to breach on your mark." In orbit, Rodriguez watched the tactical display with satisfaction. The pirate fleet was in ruins, their base defenseless. Now for the coup de grace. "Captain Vexathor," she broadcast on all frequencies, "your base is infiltrated. Your ships are destroyed. Your shields are down. But I'm giving you one last chance. Surrender now." The response came in the form of wild plasma fire from the base's remaining weapons. The shots went wide, not even coming close to the human ships. "I guess that's a no," Rodriguez sighed. "Thunder Team, execute breach. Ghost Squadron, begin attack run Omega. All ships, targeting solutions locked. Fire on my mark." The next 60 seconds demonstrated why humanity's militaries never downsized after achieving peace. Thunder Team breached the command center from 3 directions, their weapons firing with precise bursts. Ghost Squadron strafed the base's surface, destroying any remaining defense turrets. The combined human fleet launched a barrage that lit up the nebula like a new star being born. When the chaos cleared, Captain Vexathor found himself staring down the barrel of Captain Chen's rifle. Behind him, Thunder Team secured the room with mechanical efficiency. Through the command center's windows, he could see human ships surrounding his ruined base. "Congratulations," Chen said, his voice carrying the weight of a father whose child had been threatened. "You survived. Now, let me introduce you to something humans call consequences." Captain Vexathor knelt on the command center floor, surrounded by Thunder Team operators. His crew were either dead or captured. His mighty pirate empire had crumbled in hours, but something wasn't adding up. "How?" he demanded. "How did you find us so quickly?" Lisa Chen walked into the command center, still wearing her prison jumpsuit, now accessorized with a stolen pirate comm unit. Behind her, the other children emerged from various hiding spots, many carrying pirated weapons and tech. "Would you believe we've been practicing for this since kindergarten?" She grinned, giving her father a high five as she passed him. "Oh, right, you probably don't know what kindergarten is." Captain Chen couldn't hide his proud smile. "You see, Vexathor, you didn't just attack any colony. You attacked New Eden, the colony that was founded specifically to bait pirates like you." "Impossible." Vexathor's third eye blinked rapidly. "The colony has only existed for 15 years. "Exactly." Commander Rodriguez strode in, her combat armor still smoking from the battle. 15 years ago, after the last attempted child snatching, Earth Command decided to set a trap. We needed to end this practice permanently." Lisa pulled up her sleeve, revealing a small scar. "Every child in the colony has a quantum tracker. Not just any tracker, one specifically designed to work in nebula interference. Dad made sure of that when he designed the colony's security protocols." "You see," Captain Chen continued, "Lisa's not just my daughter, she's the prototype. the first of a new generation trained to turn kidnapping attempts into ambushes. Those monthly school drills, combat training, summer camp, survival courses, play dates, team tactical exercises. The other children had taken up positions around the room, mirroring the Special Forces operators with practiced precision. Tommy Parker was already hacking into the base's mainframe, his small fingers flying over the alien controls. "The best part," Lisa added, "you picked us because we looked helpless, because human children are supposed to be soft, weak targets. You never wondered why a frontier colony had so many children in the first place." Vexathor's scales had turned pale. "The whole colony was a trap." "The whole colony," Rodriguez confirmed. "Every parent is either military or law enforcement. Every child is trained for exactly this scenario. We knew someone would eventually take the bait. We just had to wait." "But the ransom demands," Vexathor whispered. "Oh, those were never going to work," Lisa laughed. "We needed you to stall, to keep your fleet in place. While you were drafting demands, we were dismantling your base from the inside. Those bathroom breaks? Mapping your facility? The medical emergencies? Testing your response protocols? The stolen components? Building our own command and control network?" A holographic display sprang to life, showing the full extent of the children's handiwork. Every system in the base had been compromised, every security measure mapped and countered. "Consider this a lesson," Rodriguez declared, "one that the galaxy desperately needed to learn. Human children aren't easy targets. They're not weak or helpless. They're the next generation of humanity's defenders, and you just gave them their final exam." Lisa stepped forward, meeting Vexathor's terrified gaze. "By the way, we all passed with flying colors. Thanks for the practice run." Commander Rodriguez circled Captain Vexathor like a shark, sizing up wounded prey. The pirate leader had lost everything: his fleet, his base, his reputation. Now, surrounded by human forces and thoroughly outsmarted by children, he had one last card to play. "You know," he sneered, mandibles clicking, "there are others like me. This won't stop the practice. Children will always be valuable targets." Rodriguez stopped in front of him, her expression carved from stone. "That's exactly what we wanted you to think. Right up until this moment." She nodded to Lisa, who activated the base's long-range communications. The quantum broadcast reached every corner of known space. "This is Commander Rodriguez of the Earth Defense Force. To all pirates, slavers, and would-be kidnappers. You've just witnessed the complete destruction of the largest pirate fleet in the Andromeda Arm. Their mistake. They thought human children were easy targets." The children gathered behind her, standing tall and proud. Tommy still typing away at the controls, Penny organizing the younger ones, Jamie coordinating with the rescue teams. "Let me be clear," Rodriguez continued, her voice promising violence. "Every human colony is a trap. Every human child is a trained defender. Every attempted kidnapping will end like this one. Consider this your only warning." Vexathor lunged suddenly, a hidden blade extending from his scales. Before anyone else could react, Lisa swept his legs with a practiced move, and Tommy hit him with a stolen stun baton. The mighty pirate captain went down, taken out by two kids who hadn't even hit their teens. "Really?" Lisa sighed. "That was just embarrassing." The Damascus's medical teams arrived, checking each child despite their protest that they were fine. Parents would be arriving soon on fast transport ships, though many, like Captain Chen, were already there as part of the assault team. "Mission accomplished," Rodriguez declared, watching as Vexathor was led away in chains. "Let's go home." As the children boarded their rescue ships, many were already asking when they could do their next training exercise. After all, this had been way more fun than regular school. And somewhere in the galaxy, as the footage of the battle spread, a lot of pirates were hastily updating their target lists. At the top, in bold letters, "Never target human children."